Hello, everyone. I'm Valerie Gilchrist, and welcome to Esther's Purpose with Valerie. Now, this is part 2 about the power of saying no. Last week, when we talked about the power of saying no, what I said to you was, if you don't know the answer, or if you're rushed when someone asks you a question or they want you to do something, then the answer is no. But let's push past the no now and let's talk about what do we do when someone asks us a question and we do have an answer. That answer might not be the one that they want. It still might be no as far as they're concerned because it doesn't line up with who you are. But we first have to, once again, back up and we've got to decide who we are and where we're going. Because how will you really have the power of saying no if you don't really understand your no? Okay, so let's talk about it as far as, let's say you're building a house. And when you're building a house, you already know that you want 2.5 baths, you need 4 bedrooms, you want a kitchen, you want a living room, and a dining room. And let's say that you're talking to the contractor building the house. And that contractor says, nah, the kind of house you want 5 bedrooms, and you want 3.5 bathrooms, and you want 2 floors, and you want vaulted ceilings, and you're going, whoa, wait a minute. I hadn't even thought that far. That's not even what I wanted. That wasn't my vision. But when someone is trying to get you to do something, it can sound so good, or they can brush past you so fast, you get swept up in their excitement and what they want to do. And all of a sudden, by the time you get a finished product, it is nothing like what you wanted. So we have to continue in this journey called life in making decisions based on what our vision is. And whatever our vision is for our life is where we get that power to be able to say no when someone asks us something, right? When it's not in alignment with our plan. So I want us to get really solid in who we are to be able to really operate in that power of saying no. Who we are, what we want, where we're going. I remember when I first started this journey and the simplest thing when someone would ask me, well, Valerie, what do you want? And I would just freeze at that question. What do I want? I mean, what do you mean, what do I want? What do you want? And I never could really come up with what I thought an answer was because it was just such a broad question to me. Now it is no longer a broad question, but then it was because I had no model. I had nothing written down. I had nothing concrete. I didn't even know. My life had just went with the flow for so long. I hadn't even thought about what I wanted. So in this second part of the power of no, the first thing you've got to do is figure out I shouldn't say the first thing, the second thing you want to do after you really get that power of just saying no because you really don't know yet. The second thing I want you to do is I need for you to start figuring out what it is. What is it? What do you want? Where are you going? What do you want out of life? And you're going to say, Valerie, that's a whole lot of stuff that you're asking me to come up and think about. Well, what I want you to do is do just like a writer does. When a writer is writing a book, they actually start at the end of the story. Did you know that? Typically, when people are writing books, they start at the end and then they back up and come back to the beginning. So this week, what I want you to try, writing down the end of your story. Now, I don't mean on your tombstone. I don't mean that kind of end. I mean the end as far as if I were to design the perfect life for me, what I really want my life to look like. What does that look like for you? Where are you living? What city? What state? What country? Where do you live? What type of house do you want? How many bedrooms and bathrooms do you want? Do you want a yard? Do you want a fenced-in yard? Or do you want a condo? Do you want a townhouse? What do you really want that you feel that would make you the most authentic to yourself? What makes you comfortable? I know when I went out looking for houses, I really didn't know what type of house that I wanted. But I tell you what, in the search of trying to figure it out, I went and looked at a lot of different types of houses. And when I came into a townhouse development, and I saw townhouses, I said, wow, I want to live in a community like this, where we're a little closer, we're separate, but we're a little closer than, blocks away. Sometimes houses are so separated. Something can be going on in my house. I don't want my neighbor to hear everything that's going on in my house, but I do want to feel like I can go a couple of steps if I needed some assistance and I could get it. So I really enjoyed the closeness of a townhouse community. But now you might not like that. You might want a whole acre for yourself. But that is all in designing your life. What do you want? How you want it to look like? And as you're designing that house will also tell you how many people are going to live in that house. Are you looking to be married and have kids and grandkids come over and visit? Are you looking for something smaller where it's just you and your spouse because you already know you probably don't want to get married and have kids? Or I just don't want to be married at all and I just want maybe a studio apartment. You know what I mean? Start thinking like that. Where do I want to end up? Where do I want to be? How do I want my life to look that by the time I retire or whatever point in life that you're designing for? And I want you to think about you're designing your life. What do you want it to look like when you are in that place that you know is all about you? What does that look like for you? And start designing from there. As you start doing that, the no's will become much easier. Know what I mean? Let's try. So I want you from this week to next week, what I would like for you to do is start designing and start at the end. Once you can really design the end, you'll be able to come back to the beginning and now start. For those of us who are Christians, when you're reading your Bible, the first 2 chapters, God created everything. And then he went to start. And I think that is a very great model to start with, to begin with. If you think about it, we even do it already. When we're looking at houses, we'll go around and start looking at houses. We look at finished houses. We look at finished neighborhoods. We look at finished cars. Everything that we look at is already finished. And then we start adding our touches. Well, I want this many windows. Well, I want 2 floors instead of 1 floor. Well, I want my house to be shaped like this. Well, I want this kind of car. I don't want 4 doors. I want 2 doors, but I do like that design. You see where I'm getting at? So we've got to start getting some ideas and thinking so that we can really design what the end looks like so we can then step back and start where we need to start so we can arrive at that target. Make sense? Okay, that's what I have for you today. What do I want you to do? I want you to subscribe to my channel. I want you to like it and I want you to share it. Also, I want you to leave me some comments so that after every one of my broadcasts, I can go and I can look at your questions, I can look at your comments, and then I can answer them from there on my next show the next week. So you all have a great, great week ahead. I thank you for coming into my channel and watching, and I want you to always remember, authenticity is success unleashed. You all have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.